What is going on, college sports fans? Welcome back to another video, and today we are making our official 2022 March Madness bracket. And we've made a bunch on this channel, but we have not made one yet with the official bracket that came out yesterday. So this is the one that I'm going by. It's going to be in my group, so if you guys want to compete against me and other subscribers of mine, make sure you guys join my group. It's called Dannyology 5 right here. We already have 70 plus people in it, so if you can search this name on the website or the app, or I will have a link down in the description if you want to join that way. So make sure you guys are subscribed and then go ahead and join that if you want to. And now, let's go ahead and get into our official bracket for 2022. And I am really excited to make brackets this year. I mean, this field looks like there's going to be a lot of upsets. The only problem is, are we going to pick the right upsets? Because we know they're going to happen. Let's see if we can get as close as we can to getting a perfect bracket, man. But we know it's not going to happen, but let's try it, man. We got Gonzaga versus Georgia State. Of course, we're rocking with the Zags. Boise State versus Memphis. Now, this one is interesting. I think a lot of people are going to pick Boise State here, and I want to go with Boise State too, because a fun fact here, Boise State has never won an NCAA tournament game, so I really want to give the Broncos this one, but Memphis has been turning up recently. We all know that they have some of those top prospects coming in, some top freshmen, and they were ranked highly coming into the season. They didn't perform well. They started performing recently. They made it all the way to their conference championship game and lost to Houston. Do we want to go with the Broncos or the Memphis Tigers here? And I really want to go with Boise State here. I just can't bring myself to pick Memphis over Boise. I want Boise to get their first ever tournament win so bad, but that one is very 50-50 for me. If you wanted to argue Memphis to me, then I'd be like, all right, yeah, I'm sold, because that one is 50-50 for me. But give me Boise State, man, just because I really want them to get their first ever tourney win. And they're a really good team. They won the Mountain West Conference this year, regular season and in the tournament. So they're ready, man. They are ready. Now we got UConn versus New Mexico State Aggies. And I feel like out of all the 12-5s, this might be one of the ones that aren't being picked as much. And for good reason, because UConn, they have a big three. They have R.J. Cole. They have a good big man. I mean, the Aggies are a sleeper, though. You could definitely make that pick, but I'm going to rock with the Huskies for this one. I don't want to risk it. I got to pick the right upsets here, and I'm going to go with UConn. And this one broke my heart on yesterday whenever I was live streaming the Selection Sunday. This one absolutely tore me to pieces, bro, because I wanted the Caramounts to get a win this year so bad, and I was just, if they get a decent draw, they are going to win. And I will pick them in some of my brackets, but for my official bracket, I got to play it safe, because Arkansas has potential to make a deep run in this tournament. So I'm not going to pull the trigger on the Caramounts, but I do want to see them go dancing really bad. Now we got Alabama versus either Rutgers or Notre Dame. And I'm going to pick Rutgers to defeat Notre Dame, even though I think whoever wins that first four game will be Alabama. Not too high on the Crimson Tide right now. They're coming off of a loss in the SEC tourney to Vanderbilt. And even before that, they just weren't looking too good the whole second half of the regular season. So not too high on the Crimson Tide. Give me Rutgers or Notre Dame. But for the sake of this one, I'm going to go with Rutgers. Texas Tech versus Montana State. I'm going to go with Texas Tech, man. Too long on defense. I'm not sure if Montana State has seen athletes like Texas Tech has. So Texas Tech is going to come in there hot, I think. Now we got Michigan State versus Davidson. And this is kind of a tough pick, man. I'm kind of 50-50 on it, maybe 60-40. And that's kind of how a 7-10 matchup should be, right? But I'm going to go with Sparty. I think that they've been playing better as of late. They got a big win over Wisconsin in the Big Ten tournament. And beginning of the year, if you take in the entire year into perspective, I think Michigan State has had a pretty good season. We all know Tom Izzo is a great head coach. And Davidson, I think they might have peaked too early. They're in the A10. So give me Sparty to move on there. Now we got the Duke Blue Devils versus CSU Fullerton. And I'm going to go with Duke. All right. So we only have one double-digit seed coming out of the first round. That is tough, man. But let's see what happens, bro. Gonzaga versus Boise State. As much as I would love to see the Broncos dance, I got to go with Zaga, man. Too much size with Chet and Drew Timme. And they get out and run, man. So they're going to be tough out. I don't think Boise's going to have enough to get it done. Give me the Zags. Now we got UConn versus Arkansas. This would be an awesome matchup. I think it's interesting, though, because two very good guards, especially defensively. I think R.J. Cole matched up on J.D. Notae is a very good matchup. And it almost makes me want to go with the Huskies here. But I'm feeling a little something from Arkansas. Like, I feel like they can make a deep run. But I'm gonna go with UConn. I feel like they match up well against Arkansas. And I'm going to pick the Huskies to move on to the Sweet 16 over Arkansas in this one. I think that R.J. Cole is going to be able to contain, not completely shut down, J.D. Notae in this one. And UConn's going to move on by getting it down to their big guy, Santiago. Now we got Rutgers versus Texas Tech. And again, I do think Rutgers does have some length to them to where they can knock off Texas Tech. Not sure if I want to bring myself to do it. You know what? I want to have a double. We're doing it. Rutgers to the Sweet 16 in this one. Make it happen. Let's go. I think, Geo Baker, Ron Harper, and who's that guy's name? I can't even think of him on Rutgers. I can't think of his name. But he was the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. He's got a lot of length to him. He averages almost 3 steals a game. Give me Rutgers to defeat Texas Tech in this one. Maybe Ron Harper Jr. hits a big shot. They just have enough players that want it. And give me Rutgers, man. I could see that happening. And now we got Michigan State versus Duke. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, man. Duke, I'm going to go with Sparty. And that could be a surprise to some of you guys. But I think Duke, Coach K's last season, we all think, he might make a Final Four run, maybe a championship run in his final season. But he lost to North Carolina in his last home game. He lost to Virginia Tech in his last ACC championship game. I don't think he's winning the tourney this year. And I think Michigan State matches up very well against Duke. And if they get good ball movement going, I think Tom Izzo is going to have a great game plan for Paulo Banchero. All those boys, man. Trevor Keels, AJ Griffin, all those boys. I think Michigan State can match up with them. Give me Sparty to move on to the Sweet 16. And now, in our Sweet 16 matchups here in the West region, we got Gonzaga versus UConn. And Santiago versus Drew Timme or Chet Holmgren. I'm not sure who they'll put him on. But I'm going to pick the Zags, man. I think they're going to be too much for UConn there. But I do think UConn defensively is going to be able to slow down Gonzaga a little bit. But Gonzaga, I think, wins this game. Pulls out in the end, wins by 5 or 6 points. Okay, now we got Rutgers versus Michigan State. A Big Ten battle in the Sweet 16. Wow, I didn't even peep that. I had 2 Big Ten teams going on a little bit of a underdog run here in the same region. But I think it's possible here in this one. So I'm going to go with Sparty to move on to the Elite 8. They're well coached, man. I think they're starting to heat up at the right time right now. And I think they defeat Rutgers in this one. Now we got Gonzaga versus Sparty. And this is where Sparty's run is coming to an end. As a 7 seed, I'm going to go with the Zags to go to the Final Four. Okay, now in the South region, We got Arizona versus either Wright State or Bryant. I'm gonna go with Wright State to beat Kiss and Bryant there in the first 4, and then Arizona to defeat Wright State. Then we got Seton Hall versus TCU. And I'm going to go with the Horned Frogs, man. I really like the Horned Frogs this year. And they've defeated the teams like the likes of Kansas this year. And I kind of like TCU as a sleeper team in this tournament. We'll get back to that in a little bit. Now we got Houston versus UAB. And this one is such a good 12-5 matchup that it almost feels like a trap game. And I'm not sure if I can pull the trigger on UAB because I feel like Houston is a little bit underrated on what they're able to do defensively. It's hard for me to not pick the Blazers, though, as well as their team is playing. But I almost feel like this is a trap game, and a lot of people are going to be picking it. Let me take a look at this. Look at this. Or wait, I thought that was the percentages of people picking them. I'm not sure if it shows the percentages. Oh, wow. Only 12% of people are picking UAB. That's surprising. That is surprising. You know what? Maybe it's not as much of a trap as I think. Maybe some people aren't picking UAB. I'm going to pick them then. All right. It doesn't feel so much as a trap now. I thought more people would be on that. But give me the Blazers. They're a good team. I want to see the Blazers go dancing. Let's see it. Now we got Illinois versus Chattanooga. And I love the Chats, man. I love Chattanooga this year. But I think Illinois is going to get it done. So give me the Fighting Illini to move on. Now we got Colorado State versus Michigan. And I really like this Colorado State team this year. This is probably a lot of people who haven't watched college basketball this year are probably going to see Michigan as an 11 and be like, that is an upset that I want to pick because it's a brand school going up against Colorado State and they're the lower seed. But I'm going to go with the Rams in this one. I think they're the better team, the more disciplined team. The way they're playing right now is just better. Give me the Rams to move on in that one. Tennessee versus Longwood. Not too high on Longwood's potential to get an upset, but who knows? I'm going to go with Tennessee. They're playing really good basketball right now. Just won the SEC tournament. Give me the Vols to move on there. Now we got Ohio State versus Loyola Chicago. You know who we're going with. Give me those Ramblers. They're going dancing, man. Give me Loyola Chicago in this one. Now, we got Villanova versus the Blue Hens. And if we're going to see any 15/2 out of these matchups that we have, I would say this is the one that gets it done. But still, I don't see it happening. I think Jay Wright just too good of a coach. Colin Gillespie, just too experienced. I mean, what is he, a 6th-year senior now? And he's playing really, really good coming off the injury from last year. Give me Nova to move on here. Now, we got Arizona versus TCU. And I really like Arizona. I could see them winning the entire tournament this year. They're a very good team. But I'm going to go with the Horned Frogs to pick up the 9/1 upset. And TCU is moving on to the Sweet 16. The Horned Frogs are dancing right now. So give me TCU to move on. I'm sorry, Wildcat fans. I know I have a few subscribed to my channel, and I've picked them to win in some of my brackets before Selection Sunday, and I think that you guys have potential to win, but I'm picking TCU to get this upset. Now we got UAB versus Illinois, and I could really see the Blazers pick up an upset right here, and I kind of want to do it. Let's do it, man. UAB defeats Illinois in the second round, and I'm not sure if they have the size, but if Illinois has an off shooting day with Alfonso Plummer, Trent Frazier, and they're prone to do that. They are. They're prone to have an off shooting day every once in a while. I think UAB could get this done, so give me the Blazers to move on to the Sweet 16 as well. Now, we got Colorado State versus Tennessee, and I'm going to go with Tennessee in this one. Give me the Vols. I think they're going to have enough to get past the Rams in that one, so give me Tennessee to move on. Now we got Loyola Chicago versus Villanova, and I would love to keep Loyola dancing again. I would love to see those Ramblers dance, but I can't do it. Villanova's so experienced, so well coached. Give me Nova to move on to the Sweet 16. So now we got TCU and we got UAB, and I am going to go with TCU to win this game. Horned Frogs are dancing all the way to the Elite Eight. Let's go. And now we got Tennessee versus Villanova. This would be such a fun matchup. I would love to see it happen. And I'm going to go with Tennessee to beat Villanova. Both these teams coming off of conference championship wins. Villanova in the Big East, Tennessee in the SEC. Both these teams are super hot right now. And them going at it, I feel like this could be an double overtime game. It's honestly 50-50 for me, but I'm going to show the Vols some love here and pick Tennessee to move on to the Elite Eight. Oh, I still got to pick my Final Four pick. Now we got TCU versus Tennessee. TCU to the Elite Eight. Let's go. But I'm going to go with the Vols. That's where my Cinderella right there is coming to an end. We got a 7 seed coming out here, a 9 seed coming out here. Craziness, man. I know. But Tennessee is going to the Final Four. Okay. Now we got Baylor versus Norfolk State. Give me Baylor. North Carolina versus Marquette. Very 50-50 for me. I got to go with North Carolina, though. I think they're playing better basketball right now. Give me the Tar Heels to move on. St. Mary's versus either Wyoming or Indiana. And I love the St. Mary's team. And it's really hard for me to pick against them. Like, they are so good defensively. They control the game. But if teams can get out in front of them, it's a tough pick for me. I could go with Indiana because that's who I think is going to win between Wyoming and Indiana. I could really go with them right now. I'm thinking about it. You know what? It's probably not going to be a popular pick. I really like St. Mary's this year, and I've picked them in many other brackets. They're going to be picked in many of my brackets, but I feel like this 12/5 is a sleeper, and I'm going to go with Indiana to move on. So now we got UCLA versus Akron, and I'm going to go with UCLA. I'm not too high on this Akron team. Texas versus Virginia Tech, and this one smells like an upset to me. This one really does. But Texas plays hard, and I feel like Virginia Tech, they catch teams when they're not playing hard. But Texas will play hard. Chris Beard will get them prepared. I really want to go. I'm going with the Hokies, man. I feel like this one might be a trap game, but I'm going to go with the Hokies. Now we got Purdue versus Yale. I'm going to go with Purdue, man. I'm going to go with Purdue. Now we got Murray State versus San Francisco. Now this one is kind of 50-50 for me, but I really like the Racers to come out of this one. They're a very good team. They got KJ on that team. He's been playing awesome. Very, very good team. And then we got Kentucky coming out here. All right. So now our round of 32 matchups in the East region. We got Baylor versus North Carolina. I'm going to go with Baylor. Too good defensively. Just really well coached by Scott Drew. Give me Baylor to move on. Now we got Indiana versus UCLA. And I would love to see Indiana keep moving on. I think Johnny Juzang is going to turn up at this point. Give me UCLA to move on this time. Now, we got Virginia Tech versus Purdue. And I would love to keep the Hokies going here. I actually think it's a good matchup for them because Purdue's going to have to come in playing some defense, because if they don't, Virginia Tech will win this game. They will. They really will win this game if they come out here not playing defense. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to keep the Hokies dancing to the Sweet 16. Let's make it happen. Now we got Murray State versus Kentucky. And I'm going to go with Kentucky in this one. I love the Racers, but I think Kentucky's going to turn up right now. I think they will. Now, we got Baylor versus UCLA. And I'm going to go with UCLA. I think that they're going to turn up, especially Johnny Juzang. I know he's coming off of an injury, but he started to look like himself against Arizona in the Pac-12 championship. And I think that if he can turn up, they get Yakas going, Tiger Campbell, all them boys, I think that they have enough in them offensively to defeat Baylor in this one. Now, we got Virginia Tech versus Kentucky, and I'm going to go with Kentucky to go on to the Elite Eight. So we got our 4 seed versus our 2 seed, UCLA versus Kentucky. Can UCLA make back-to-back Final Fours? I'm going to go with Kentucky to end UCLA's run to a second Final Four. Give me Kentucky to make it in. So far we got Gonzaga, Kentucky, and Tennessee in our Final Four. All right, so let's move on to this region. We got Kansas versus Texas Southern or Texas Tech CC. Or Texas A&M CC, my bad. I'm going to pick Kansas for sure. Then we got San Diego State versus Creighton. Both these teams lost in their conference championship game. I feel like San Diego State gets a lot of hype, but they never perform in March. I'm going to go with Creighton, man. They're playing really good basketball right now. They're well coached. Give me Creighton to move on. Now we got Iowa versus Richmond. And I was kind of surprised that Richmond got a 12 bid. But they are actually a sleeper good team. I think they got a tough draw going against Iowa. I think Iowa should probably be a higher seed. They're coming off of a Big Ten tournament championship, and they are playing very, very good basketball. Keegan Murray, one of the best players in college basketball. So give me the Hawkeyes to move on here. Now we got Providence versus South Dakota State. Now, I feel like this is an upset a lot of people are going to be picking, and for good reason. I think the Jackrabbits could defeat Providence, but this one really does feel like a trap game, and I'm going to pick the Friars to move on. I feel like, they're having one of their best seasons in a long time. The Friars are heating up, and they play in a lot of close games, sure, but a lot of those they finished, So give me the Friars to move on in this one. I feel like this is a big-time trap game. Let me know your guys' thoughts about it in the comments. Now we got LSU versus Iowa State. And I'm going to go with Iowa State in this one. LSU, they just fired their coach. A lot of stuff's going on there. I think Isaiah Brockington has a big day. Well, do they have enough offensively? Because LSU is actually very good at defense. They are really good at defense, aren't they? You know what? I think LSU would win this game. I think LSU will win that game. I don't think Iowa State's going to have enough to get by LSU's D. Now we got Wisconsin versus Colgate, and I am going to go with the Wisconsin Badgers to win that game. Now, we got USC versus Miami, and I'm going to go with Miami. I think that they can win that game for sure. Now we got Auburn versus Jacksonville State. Easy pick. Going with Auburn. All right, so now in our round of 32 matchups, we got Kansas versus Creighton. And Creighton's playing very good basketball right now. I'd love to see them pull off this upset, but Kansas, talk about playing some good basketball. Ochai Abachi is very, very good. And they are turning up at the right time. Kansas is moving on in this one. Now we got Iowa versus Providence. And I think this is going to be a really close game throughout. But I think Iowa pulls it out in the end. Keegan Murray, too nice, too good. Give me the Hawkeyes to move on here. Now we got LSU versus Wisconsin. And I am going to go with the Wisconsin Badgers to move on in this one. Now, we got Miami versus Auburn. I think Miami could give them a good fight, but I am going to go with the Auburn Tigers to get it done. Jabari Smith, very good player. Now we got Kansas versus Iowa. Keegan Murray versus Ochai Abachi. Tell me you do not want to see that. Man, this is tough. This is a tough one. This would be an amazing game, but I'm going to pick Kansas to move on. Now, we got Wisconsin versus Auburn. Johnny Davis versus Jabari Smith. Tell me you don't want to see that one too. Like, these these Sweet 16 games would be amazing games. And, you know, I could go 50-50 with the Kansas-Iowa one and also the Wisconsin-Auburn one. Very tough to pick, but I am going to go with Wisconsin to get it done. I think that they can do it, man. Now, we got Kansas versus Wisconsin in the Elite Eight. This would be so fun. Johnny Davis versus Ochai Abachi. Give me Kansas, though, to move on to the Final Four. All right, so we got 2 1 seeds. We got a 2 seed and a 3 seed. I think that's pretty realistic. I have a couple Cinderellas, but they just didn't quite make it to the Final Four. We got Michigan State as a 7, if you consider that a Cinderella, a 7 to the Elite Eight. We got TCU to the Elite Eight as a 9. We got VTech to the Sweet 16. Do we have anyone else to the Sweet 16? We got UAB to the Sweet 16, and we got Rutgers to the Sweet 16. So we got some upsets going pretty deep, just none of them made it to the Final Four for me. So now, we got a really good matchup. Gonzaga versus Kentucky. Battle of the Bigs. Oscar Tshiebwe versus Drew Timme and Chet Holmgren. This one could come down to the guards, and I almost feel like Kentucky might have better guards in this one. The coaching battle between Mark Few and John Calipari, I would need to see it. I'm going to go with Kentucky to make it to the national championship game. Now, we got Tennessee versus Kansas to move on to the championship. And I'm going to go with Kansas to win that one. So 1 seed versus a 2 seed here in this one. Who is going to get the job done? And I am picking the Kansas Jayhawks to defeat the Kentucky Wildcats in this one. And score prediction, I'm going to go with somewhat high scoring, 73 to 71. Keep it real close here. And that is who I have winning the national championship. Let me know what you guys think about my picks down below in the comment section. Again, you can join my group if you want to. I'll have a link down below in the description. I think Kansas is playing great basketball right now, and they're a scary team, man. They are a scary team. Let me know who you guys think is going to win the championship as well. Make sure you guys subscribe if you guys are new. And it's been your boy Danny. I'm out.